Hello everyone, and welcome back to my sort of yearly, not always yearly, Halloween tradition of drawing Queen Scarlet. Before we get started, I do want to remind everyone that my Kickstarter campaign for my playing cards is still open, and you can click the link in the upper right corner now to go check it out, support me, and get your own custom deck of playing cards today. Anyways, this is my fourth Scarlet poster, and the first not to be explicitly Halloween themed, but I really enjoyed working on it, and I'm excited to share with y'all. I missed Halloween last year, what with being crazy busy, but this year I managed to work it into my schedule. I'm rereading book 1 right now, or I was last month when I actually drew the poster, and towards the middle when they described the Skywing throne room, I just had to draw it. Every year my Scarlet design changes, and one of the awesome things about this little tradition of mine, I think, is that, to be honest, I still love every poster I've done. It's so nice to look back on art from so long ago and still be proud. And this year is a super solid addition to the lineup. This year, I have Queen Scarlet curled confidently in her throne room, surrounded by wealth and riches, set to a backdrop showing her kingdom behind her. I'll definitely say the feature that stands out to me the most this year is the amount of gold in the poster. Not only does the background in the throne include a lot of gold inlay, but Queen Scarlet has a lot more jewelry this year as well. I know I've mentioned in the past that dragon jewelry and accessories weren't a strong suit of mine, but this last year I've made a lot of improvement in that area, and I've come to really enjoy adding these details. So this year I paid a lot of attention to what Scarlet is wearing, and making sure the opulence of her appearance matches her position of power. Also, I worked to add a lot more variation in the pieces she's wearing. I have wide bands of gold, thin wires, and several kinds of piercings, as well as a lot more gemstones than previous years as well, both embedded in her scales and dangling from jewelry. And for anyone who remembers 2 years ago when I didn't give Scarlet her big hoop earrings and regretted it, this year I didn't forget. The last poster I did definitely boasted an increase in line detail and art style improvements, but this year definitely takes the cake, I think. Queen Scarlet herself at the epicenter of this piece is just absolutely mired in detail, with plenty there to keep your eyes busy. Honestly, Scarlet and her jewels were so fun to work on this time around. It was neat to do such a heavy load of precious metal and stones, and to vary each piece while still keeping the color palette and design appealing and coherent. I wanted the jewelry to be a messy sort of extravagance, as if Scarlet has so much wealth she's just dripping in it. In the book, Clay remarked on the fact that Scarlet's open inclusion of treasure in her hallways showed both how wealthy she was and how powerful. And, speaking of using treasure as part of her home decor, I definitely included plenty of gold in the background too. For the throne, which is white marble carved to look like clouds, I tried to include gold tracery and then a few gemstones thrown in randomly as well. To be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure the throne came out looking exactly like I wanted it to. It may be hard to tell exactly what it is at first. I was struggling to show that it was actually stone, and to show the shape of it since Scarlet is sitting on part of it and curled around the rest. I definitely think it worked, and I'm not unhappy with it, but I also think there's going to be a learning curve for me and drawing stone with carvings. For the backdrop itself, I tried to go pretty simple, to be honest with you. I didn't want to detract too much from the focal point of the piece, which is, of course, our queen herself. The wall is very plain, meant to be a degree of separation between detail-heavy Scarlet and the more complicated horizon shown through the windows. I added the tapestry in the middle because I just didn't like that the wall was empty, but if I were to draw this piece again, I think I might have done away with the wall altogether and replaced it with more of a balcony-type structure, with a few supporting columns, but something that would largely be open to the skies. That would allow a sweeping view of the kingdom, and it would have actually made more sense for the sky dragons anyways. That's for next time. Speaking of the horizon and the Skywing Kingdom, although it's a relatively small portion of the poster, I had a really good time working on it. It was fun to design the towers and think about how the Skywings themselves might have designed their architecture, keeping in mind the needs and preferences of the Skywing tribe as a whole. When I did my drawing of Thorn, Keebly, and Sunny in the desert together a while ago, I put the Sandwing Palace in the background and really liked how it turned out. Those buildings I drew short and wide, with strong bases and heavy features for the most part. I thought the Sandwings would probably design their cities low and sturdy, so they would be able to withstand the sandstorms and whatnot in the Sand Kingdom. A desert is a harsh environment after all, and their building styles would reflect that. However, for the Skywing Kingdom, I think it would be basically the opposite. Skywings aren't like most tribes, staying close to the ground. They soar among the mountain peaks, and their buildings would be as tall as possible to keep them up in the sky. So the towers visible behind Scarlet are tall and elegant, with plenty of balconies and ledges and places to stand. The Skywing Palace and cities, I think, would mostly resemble sweeping aeries, built into the mountains themselves. So I did a couple towers, and then some little bitty watchtowers and things in the distant mountains. Last year the shading and lighting played a really big part in the piece, and this year I have to say the shading was a lot less intense, which was kinda nice. Although I do think the colors in this last poster I did were very cohesive, it did come out a little dark in the end. I'm happy with the brighter colors in this one, where you can actually see all the little details and attentions I paid during the design phase. And although the brighter color palette may not fall exactly in line with Halloween-type art styles, I'm still pleased. Overall, I think this is a great addition to my little series, and it was a fun side project to use as a break from commissions and other projects while I worked on it. What do you guys think about this year's poster, and which one is your favorite so far? To be honest with you, I think this or the first would be my favorite. Even as much as I've improved since way back then, that first poster was just a masterpiece. Maybe someday I should redo that one again, but stick with the same color palette instead of messing with it. Anyways, remember to check out the description for links to my Redbubble, DeviantArt, and the Kickstarter campaign. Please consider grabbing yourself a deck. They're gonna make awesome Christmas presents. And, of course, if you enjoyed this video, check out my other Halloween Scarlets, or the rest of my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and please have a blessed day.